you're not going to do it. You're not going to have the courage to do it. You have to love the person.
That's true.
So we have to put aside the macho-ness and say, you know what,
down
this is
to
the
it.
love of my life and I'm going to do it. I don't care what nobody says.
I have so much appreciation for my wife now that I realize that all these years she was doing all of that.
Waiting on her hand and feet until she gets better. Like, was that a conversation anybody had with their friends?
I'm very grateful for what I had as regards to support from my boys and my family and friends.
Welcome to the Green Table Talk, where we will have open and honest discussion about transplant. I'm your host, Jennen Johnsen.
It's Humble River Hospital. I think 3/4 of the hospital knew me.
Didn't come to mind because I was so wrapped up in getting it done. It's only after.
Okay. And you know I tried everything, Deroy. Oh my goodness. Okay. I think I'm good. Welcome to the Green Table Talk. I am your host, Jennen Johnsen. Today we have a bunch of amazing men joining the show today. Today's episode is about being a caregiver, specifically being a male caregiver. So now we have Carlos, we have Rob, and we have Deroy on the line. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to start to ask one of you to introduce yourselves, give us a little background knowledge about yourselves. Let's start with Carlos.
Okay, hi. My name is Carl Alexander. I penned the name Carlos, but I'm Carl Alexander. What can I say? I'm a retired civil servant from Canada, and I'm spending my time in Tobago at the moment with my wife, who was a recipient of a liver. She had a transplant, and after she got the transplant, we both retired, and we're living between Tobago and Canada. So we summer in Canada and we winter and the rest of the year in Tobago.
Beautiful life. Beautiful life.
I became a caregiver, I guess. I wasn't nominated or volunteered. It just happened. She got ill and that's what I did.
Excellent.
I just went right into it, looked after my wife and nursed her back to health. And
Okay.
I'll do it again.
Of course, because you're a good husband. That's why.
Well,
Thank
it's
you
my companion, and I don't want to think about what would happen if she's not around. So
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what? We're not going to give away too much of the story. Hold on. We're going to reach over to Rob and have him give his journey. Tell us a little description about yourself and how you became a caregiver.
My name is Rob Roy Harris. I'm Tamara's husband. We've been married for quite some time. And she just got sick. And the thing that you love, we do not want to see destroyed.
Of course.
So that's how I became a caregiver for my wife, because I love her and I didn't want nobody to take care of her during her sickness. I know she would feel comfortable with me, so I tried to make her as comfortable as she can so she can recover speedily. And the joy would be with us and the rest of the family when she recovers speedily. So I decided I'm going to quit my job, and I stayed home to take care of my wife. I just had to do it suddenly. Just suddenly came up on me, and it was very overwhelming when it happened. I didn't understand anything about it, but I knew I had to take my charge and perform the duties that was designed for me to do.
Of course. And you're a very strong man for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, we have, last but definitely not least, Deroy.
Good evening, Janine and the rest of the panel. I'm your husband, obviously. This was a journey for sure. I knew it was my duty to make sure you're happy and well taken care of. Again, I got a lot of support from different people, but basically I fed off of your energy and what you taught me over the years and months preparing for this day. And I need to see that people smile forever. So that's why I made sure it's my duty to make sure you're very happy.
And I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you're there to help us out. Not only me, but the rest of the family during this journey.
Definitely. Thank you.
So let's go back to Carlos. Let me find out from you, what was going through your mind when you first found out that your wife needed a liver?
I was devastated. I'll be quite honest. I didn't take it very well. It wasn't something that I was expecting. It just happened. I realized that I had to take charge of it. I had to not let it get a hold of me. But we had some experiences with looking and trying to find donors and so on. And when I found out, it destroyed me. But I was able to get back on my horse and go in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about you, Roy? How did you feel when you first found out about Tamara and her situation?
When I first found out about her situation, I was lost because I've never experienced anything like that. So right there and then I know I had to come back to earth because that's my wife and I love her, and I vowed to her that I would make sure that I do my very best in taking care of her. And some of the strength I got from her, I got from her to continue doing the things I did for her. I was not at any time feel that I was overwhelmed or anything like that. I just knew that she's sick and somebody has to take care of her. And the closest person to her was me. And we had young children, and I didn't want them to know that their mother not being taken care of properly. So I just decided, well, okay, this is it. And I have to stay put and stay with my wife because I want to see my wife every day as long as I can because I love her.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Same thing to you, Deroy. Tell me, what went through your mind when you first found out?
I thought I was living in a movie. Like I hear about stuff on TV, newspapers and such. But when I first found out, I was nervous, but I knew what I had to do. I mean, I'm not a Superman. I'm not, hard on this to make sure. I had to make sure you're okay. Again, like I want to see you for many, many years to come. Like that beautiful smile you have. So that's what motivated me every day.
I love it. So, Roy, when you found out that you would have to take care of Tamara, did you look into like different type of resources to find out, okay, so what should I do as a caregiver? Did you just feel like, you know what, we'll just roll with the punches, whatever happens, happen? Like, what was your first steps when you found out this is your responsibility? I know you mentioned you quit your job, right?
My first response was, before Tamara got a kidney, she was in the hospital. So I was there for 4 months, and I knew that things wasn't the way it's supposed to be. So it prepared me in those 4 months for what is ahead of me. So from there, I started getting strength because when she was in the hospital, I became the caregiver in the hospital. When she first went in there, I was there every day, and I do everything for her that I had to do for her. And it was, I'm a very biblical man. So when I found out, I didn't get weak, I got stronger. I got stronger for her because I knew I had to get stronger anyway. So I was going every day by faith, knowing that my wife is going to rise. And I was fortunate enough to be there that day when she rised out of a coma. I was right there standing. That's when I felt a bit, not very scared, a bit scared, because when she opened up her eyes, I was right there. She didn't recognize who I was. So I was like, what is going on? So I had my children there with me. And I said to her, these are your children. And she said, get from in front of me. I don't have any children. That's when I was like, no, this is not something easy to deal with. I know I have to put on my running shoes and start running. Not running away, but doing things more efficient and more loving,
Mm-hmm.
which I always do, but it was more of that she needed to come back
Yeah.
because she was like, I don't even know what's going on. And I
Mm-hmm.
was the one that witnessed everything would happen, because when she went there, she didn't know what anything that happened. So I was the one that had to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a journey. It was a beautiful journey, because I am happy today. I am so happy, because sometimes when I talk about it, I get emotional.
Yes.
But happy emotional, not sad emotional. I am happy. I'm very happy.
And I'm sure she's happy to see you when she opened your eyes, though. Like, you're her husband. She might not have recognized or realized that she had children, but like you said, you threw those running shoes on and you went straight towards the problem. Said, nope, we're not having this. We're going to fix this. Right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And
Amazing.
the hospital was very cooperative. Everybody there was very, very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Now they were all supportive every day. And that gave me the strength and the courage to carry on and say, well, this is where we are, and this is what we got to do at the present moment.
Okay, excellent. What about yourself, Carlos? Do you feel that when you found out what was going on and you had to be the caregiver, do you feel like you had the support needed to become the caregiver? I mean, you've never done this before, right?
Well, being married for so long, you get used to looking after kids and everyone as well, right? Because we shared the responsibility. But at the time when she got sick, it was just her and myself, and it was hard at first, because it's the responsibility. And I just heard Roy mention the fact that sometimes she wasn't able to recognize things, and so it was like working with someone who didn't really know if they appreciated it, but you had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got into it, and I did, because like Roy was saying, when you're with someone, it's hard to just break away, and the responsibility is yours to look after them. So I took on the job, fully aware of where I was going. I mean, I learned a lot of things. I learned to cook. I learned to clean. So I think I'm quite a chef now because of it.
There's the silver lining right there, right?
Yeah, having to to prepare all the different foods. Even after she came out of the hospital, the different diets that she couldn't eat, and so I learned to cook all kinds of different things, and I think of myself as a chef. That's
amazing.
Good at it now.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Does she turn to you to cook more often now on a regular basis?
Actually, I like doing it.
Okay, good.
I'm retired, so there isn't much else to do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You either go to the beach or you go here, you go there. But cooking is a love I've developed. And
Yes.
I like cooking now.
That's beautiful. What about you, Deroy? Do you feel that you had the support that you needed to become a good caregiver, or do you feel that you just kind of had to learn as you went along?
I say a bit of both. I did have support, but I really had to wing it. I had to listen to what you really said over the process of everything, because you're a great teacher, of course. But it was, I don't know, it's just hard to describe. You just have to be there to understand. I just followed your cues. I just remember the coordinator told me at the hospital. Again, watching you go through dialysis and so forth was very, as a learning experience. Mm-hmm. So basically, I took in everything you said and what I heard from the coordinators to make sure you're comfortable, to make sure you're okay, and for, of course, Tatiana and myself, to make sure we have a long life together. That was my main goal every day, to make sure you're comfortable and well kept.
And it worked. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So this is for the three of you now. What would you have done differently? Do you feel that in terms of receiving help, what would you have done differently? Do you feel you could have turned to the hospital more to get, further information? Do you feel that, everything was fine? They gave you all the information that you needed? Because Deroy, you said that you turned to different people at the hospital and they helped you out, especially with dialysis, what have you. So to the three of you, do you feel that you received enough assistance in terms of being a caregiver?
Well, I feel sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll go after.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like I did get support from the hospital, the coordinators, but I feel maybe within our community we could got more. I could have got more help.
Okay.
That's what I believe. I mean, I'm grateful for what I got, but I mean, if I more support, the better, of course. And I wish I had more support from my community.
Mhm. Okay. And what about you, Carlos?
Well, the support that I would have liked to seen, because I think what we're doing now is gearing us for the people coming after to be better prepared. But
Agreed.
finding a donor, it was kind of being lost out there because there wasn't enough information. I don't think at the time for me, or
Mhm.
maybe I was so wrapped up in looking after my wife, I couldn't find the time. But I think the information or people being aware that these things happen and people are making donations, so like putting on a driver's license that they will donate and so on would really help, because we were down to the wire, to be quite
Okay.
literal. Yeah, and I think that sort of awareness for the people out there, so more people will be able to volunteer things, do things, would be good.
Mhm.
And that's why I believe that what we're doing here now, and why I signed on to do it, because I think if people get the information, more people are aware of it,
Yes.
we can do so much more.
Agreed.
It's not like it's something happening in the dark. It should be out there for everyone.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel that our community, the Black community, do you feel that there should be more of a program out there for us that we can turn to in a time like this? And
Definitely. In
Yeah.
speaking to people out there, I at the time, a lot of them didn't have any knowledge or weren't able to help me.
Mhm.
I relied a lot on the hospital,
Okay.
to be quite honest, to get information as to who to call and where to go and things like that.
Yes.
And I think I exhausted so much of it that it was trying, trust me.
Mhm.
And a little
Well,
bit of
do you feel- sorry, go
information
ahead.
out in the community would have been able to get me feedback and somebody else able to help.
Yes.
I would like
Rob,
to
do
see
you
that
feel-
happening more now.
Do you feel that, Rob, this question's for you. Do you feel that there was a lot or enough people of our background? Do you feel you saw a lot of Black people in the hospital that you could turn to for help? Do you feel that was kind of lacking at the hospital? Were there a lot of Black nurses that you feel you could relate with and say, hey, listen, between you and I, this is what I'm going through? Do you feel that was available? Was there a lot of Black people that you could turn
Yes.
to? There
Yes,
was, okay,
there was lots of that available for me.
good.
At Humber River Hospital, I think 3/4 of the hospital knew me
Mm,
because every time they saw me, they were so supportive. They were so supportive. I cannot complain. It was no specific color. It was
Okay.
any color who helped. But like Carla said a while ago, in our Black community, they don't know anything about these things. Nothing. They're lost. So
Mhm,
the support in that aspect, there was none.
mhm,
They were just learning. They were like, what are you talking about?
mm,
And every time you have to explain to them. And another thing Carla said too, I rely on the hospital a lot because I was illiterate to the situation. I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about what's going on. So I had to rely on them. When I got the information from them, I had to share it among the Black community that didn't understand, my friends and those people that didn't understand what is going on. Because everybody think you gotta get dialysis, you're gonna die. That's where it ends. You're gonna die just like that. They
Yeah.
didn't know them, like they were advocates for transplant recipients and stuff like that. They didn't fully understand what is that. So like another thing Carla said, it's in the dark. It
Mm,
needs to come to the light more that we can get a better understanding, where we
yes.
can try to help in any way that we can help with the understanding that we have.
Mhm,
That's what we need to do. And people would be more acceptable to understand what is really the situation is all about.
So there's a lot of misinformation as well, a lot of misinformation.
Yes, there's a lot of misinformation about this transplanting. There's a lot of misinformation. And I only got the information about it. I only get to know about it because of my wife. Other than that, I wouldn't know anything either.
And that's the situation. That's the situation with a lot of people. A lot of people, like, for example, myself, I knew about kidney transplant, but I really didn't know about kidney transplant until I went through it myself, right?
Yep.
And the same thing with you, Deroy. Like, I'm sure you knew about kidney transplant previously, but until we were actually just kind of thrown into it, that's when our eyes just really opened up about it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Deroy, do you feel that in your situation, there was a lot of people of color that you could have turned to at the hospital regarding whether it's being a caregiver or just having questions and in general? Do you feel that there's a lot of people of color that you could turn to?
I believe there could have been more. We did meet a few at the hospital, but I believe there could have been more. But like Roy was saying, we did have a lot of support from different backgrounds, but ours wasn't so present as much. But we're very blessed to have what we had at the hospital to help us out during this time.
Yep.
Like you're right. I wish that we did have a bit more visibility with our culture, but at the end of the day, we didn't have a good support at the hospital.
Do you feel it would have helped along the way? Like, do you think it would help your journey as a caregiver if there was, more?
I believe so. It'd be a little bit easier to interact with someone of our background.
Okay.
They can probably relate because they'd be more educated than me, so it'd be a easier process. But at the end of the day, we did have a good support, but the culture would be a lot easier too, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's back to what the other two gentlemen were saying, more education helps. More education is better, right?
Definitely.
So my next question for everybody, and anybody could just jump in and answer at any point. Why do you think it's so hard to talk about health and to discuss something like this as being a caregiver amongst men? Because I know when I was putting this out there, asking men to join this call, I did not have a lot of people running, running to join this episode. So why do you feel that could be the situation?
Well, I could jump in. I believe, honestly, women are nurturers. We're not nurturers. Women know the answers. We feed off the women, right? I know with you now, I fed a lot off of you. You educated me a lot, what to do, how to do it. Of course, the hospital too, right? But I was a little nervous, of course. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I didn't want to make any mistakes. I know if the shoe was on the foot, I know that I'd be very comfortable with you taking care of me. So that's probably what I look at it. I think the nurturing part of being a caregiver, it's very hard for us men to be that person. So basically, it's the nurturing aspect of the caregiver. As men, we tend to get a little nervous about it. So that's just my opinion.
That's a good answer, Deroy. I'm impressed.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
I want to add something to that.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it has a lot to do with machoism.
I was waiting for someone to say that. Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you said it.
It is. It's the truth. That's the reason why we're just getting male nurses are becoming more prevalent, because men didn't think that was a vocation that they should do, right? But in reality, if you go to war, there are no women around. The men can look after the men anyways.
Yes.
So, I think it comes about because of a need to.
Okay.
When the need arises, we will step up to the plate.
Yes.
But if given an opportunity to decline, I think a lot of men would.
I agree. Because like you said, it's a macho thing, right?
Yeah.
That's not what men usually do, right? So I agree. Rob or Roy, what do you think?
Well, I will add to what Carlos said. It is a very macho thing because if for a man to see he looking after his wife or his daughter or somebody, it comes like a stigma to him. Like, what you doing? Another man would look at him and like, what are you doing? You need a woman to do that. That's the first thing they come up with. You need a woman to do that. Right?
Yes.
So when you to relate what you're doing to another man, it feels like, I don't want to tell him what I'm doing because he's going to look down on me, because men don't do those things. Only women do. That's how they have it. But because we have the love in our hearts as men, that's one of the big courage we got to do what we did. If we didn't have that love, because for me, I feel it's all about love. And if you don't love that person, you're not going to do it. You're not going to have the courage to do it. You have to love the person.
That's true.
So do we have to put aside the macho-ness and
Yes.
say, you know
Get
what,
down
this is
to
the
it.
love of my life and I'm going to do it. I don't care what nobody says. This is what I'm going to do.
I agree with you.
100.
And we're very happy that you did that. Extremely happy. My next, along the lines of what you were saying, Roy, did anybody have conversations with their boys, with their friends saying, hey, listen, I'm here helping out my wife. I'm her caregiver. I'm waiting on her hand and feet until she gets better. Like, was that a conversation anybody had with their friends?
Well,
I had a lot of stigma from my friends' wives.
Oh,
They were saying,
wives that-
"Oh, we need a man like that."
Wow. Okay.
My friends understood. They were sympathetic in respect, but the wives were making fun, telling their husbands, you see what Carl is doing, or you should be doing that. But it wasn't anything really. It's all right. The boys were okay.
Yes.
The women that were tough.
What about you, Deroy? Did you have a conversation with your boys saying, hey, you know what? I can't hang out tonight. I got to go home and take care of my wife. I'm her caregiver. So we'll talk later. Like, any type of conversations came up about it?
Well, I had a lot of support from my friends. I just talking on the phone with them. They always check up on you, make sure you're okay. Tatiana's okay. Ask if I needed anything. But in regards to that, I had a lot of support through just text messages and so forth. Like I'm very grateful for what I had as in regards to support from my boys and my family and friends.
Okay. Do you feel, and this is once again open to anybody, do you feel that there's a lot of gaps in the system? And if you do, like, what type of gaps do you feel there's in the system right now? In the system in regards to just the whole process of the transplant process, being a caregiver, donating, like throughout the whole process, do you feel there are gaps that needs to be addressed?
Well, I believe, just education. A lot of us are not educated. It's not out there, like all over the news, all over social media. It is more now. But at the beginning, I didn't see so much information regarding caregivers, what you do, what you don't do, then the support angle. A lot of ignorance is out there when it comes to donations. A lot of people think, oh, if I donate, I may die, for example, or I may not recover. Well, you will recover, right? A lot of people don't understand that aspect of the donation and the caregiver part of this whole situation and the whole scenario here.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to interject something here. Something that I think that's maybe it's a community thing that has to happen or needs to happen, but there should be somebody in the community or somebody that you can talk to. The reason I'm saying this is because during my time, I really wish I had someone I could sit down and talk to who knew what I was going through, just so I can have a parley with them. Reassure me that everything's gonna be all right. Because a lot of times they were, is everything gonna work out? You keep wondering, and just having someone talk to you, or and assure you that I've been through it before.
Yes.
It's gonna work out, and things are gonna get better. Would really be. I don't think it's a gap, but I think it's something that could be put in as well.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Do you feel that, because it sounds like you're looking, that sounds like some type of group or peer group. Do you think it would have
something
been
there that could, like how you have these hotlines, you could pick up and call someone and someone could talk to you. Because let's imagine you're by yourself with your wife, or you're looking after someone, and you're tired, there's just going on, you just need somebody to say, keep doing it, you're on the right path, you're doing it right. Just because you might be by yourself and you can't phone a family, friend, or somebody, but some, in case you don't have that, then, that support, that line should be available. I don't know if that's available. I'm not sure.
That's a very good idea. That's an extremely good idea. Do you think that type of peer support would have been more effective if it's like an all male peer support group, or just a support group in general, just support regardless?
Well, I would say mix it up because, sometimes people react to the opposite sex rather than their own easier. A woman can talk to a man and soothe him rather than a man soothing a man, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
A guy will give you the facts. A woman would give you the facts, but she will soften it.
Yes. Very true. Very true. What about you, Roy? Do you think that would have been a beneficial thing as well? Like some type of peer support group, or like Carlos said, a hotline or something that you could call into?
Well, I had my hotline at the hospital. I visited the doctors there. This one doctor, first he came to me and he saw me coming there every day. One day he said, I would like to speak to you. I didn't know him. And he said, I would like to speak to you. So I went to him and he said to me, he says to me, what you're doing there is very good, but you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to end up worse than where she is. So you have to take care. And that is when I know that a doctor is telling me that I have to be more careful in what I do.
Yes.
And like you said, I don't know about this. I'm not one to tell people my story, to go to look for support. Like I said, I'm a very biblical man. So all my stories go one place. It goes to the person that I pray to.
Of course.
So for me, when I do that, I feel relief because by faith, I feel relief and I don't have to go, because my thing is, some people you go to tell your story to, they pretend they want to help you, but they don't want to help you. You just want to know what's going on.
They just want to know your business. They just want to be in your business and find out what's going on.
That's what I want to say.
Yes.
They just want to be in your business. So for me, I find that I get very scared when it comes to telling people certain things in my life. So I don't know. The people just come my way that would help me, and they always give me a good word, and I exercise it and put it into practice and say, well, this is how it's going to go. Try it. I tried the different things to see how it works for me, how it makes me feel, and what I can do with what somebody says to me. The positiveness, because I don't take rejection easily. Some people believe in a helpline that you can call and they feel relieved at any time of the day. You feel overwhelmed in whatever is going on, because it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. But you got to make it easy for yourself, and some people don't have that skill like some. Some people are weaker than some, and some people need more guidance than some. So what worked for me, it may not work for somebody else. So we need to have those things in places,
right?
We need to have them available for everybody.
Yes. Beautiful. Couldn't have said that better myself. And I agree with you as well. If someone comes for your wife, you have to defend it. You can't just sit back and laugh and pretend like it wasn't a thing, right?
Yeah.
I completely agree. You just mentioned, Roy, that it is difficult. It's just difficult that you're experiencing, you're seeing your wife in a position in a way that you've never seen her before. You're scared, you're nervous. Is she gonna live? Is she gonna die? What about the kids? All this stuff is going through your mind. Plus, you have to take care of your wife as well. Tell me about like the type like mental stress that this could have played on you. I know you said that you straight up, you said you turned to God. You turned to God. He is your source, right? But tell me about like the mental, at any point, did you feel, you know what? I can't do this. I just can't do this. I can't see my wife like this. I can't, like, did you feel at your wit's end? Like, tell me about the mental strain that this played on you.
After my wife got sick, I realized what was going on. It was, like I said, it was not an easy road. And at the time, we had a young son. He was just 2 years old. So I had him and her to deal with, plus myself and the older ones.
That's a lot.
I have an older son that is not with my wife, and he has a daughter. She was a baby at the time too.
Wow.
And many nights I lay down in my bed beside my wife, and she didn't understand. She didn't even know. but I would get up to look to see if she's breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
would get up, I would touch her so she wouldn't feel that I touch her, but I would touch her to see if she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it was a moment where like everything I was on the edge, not on the edge with nobody, but like this is gonna happen, this might happen, that might happen. And it was a lot of sleepless nights, and it like I don't even know how to fully explain it, but I just took it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take it one day at a time because it was so much, and I was the only one that dealing with it. At the time, I didn't have a car, and I had to go to the hospital on the river every single day. I had to be there. So some nights at 12 o'clock in the night, I'm coming on the streets and I'm saying to myself, when is my wife going to get better?
Wow.
And I'm saying, okay, I'll get the strength and I'll continue going.
Yes.
And I remember one night I stand there waiting for a bus. So, and I just burst into tears when I looked back and I see how it happened, because my wife, I knew she had diabetes and everything. Sorry.
Oh, stop. You're making me cry. Stop. Oh, gosh. Hold on. Hold on.
I know this was happening, you know.
I did too, but I thought I wasn't going to do it.
I didn't even know you heard me.
Okay. And you know I cried everything, Deroy. Oh my goodness. Okay. I think I'm good.
Good. Yes, when I look back, at sometimes when at that time when I was going through that, I look and I was like, why am I in this position? What happened? And I looked and I see that there's nothing personally that I can fix. Only the doctors can do it.
Yes.
And I'm trying to see, like, every day I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what can I do to lift my wife? What is going on? Sometimes I just sat there all by myself when I lost my wife. Look at me. She's like, you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm okay. But I didn't want her to know what was going through my head, because it would affect her maybe in some way. So I always want her to be comfortable. But going through it all, I can say it was a journey. I got weak sometimes, not weak where I gave up, because I never would give up.
Mm-hmm.
I never would give up. I got weak where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go to the hospital today, because when I went to the hospital, it took a toll on me watching my wife lay down there. And it took a toll on me to see all the different people that are sick in the hospital at the same time. And when my wife came out, I said to her, I said, this thing is getting to me. There's too much sick people around me.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I have to watch this one. It's not that I'm putting the person down or anything, but every day you have to watch that different people that is sick with whatever they're sick with. And it was like, I don't want to go to this place anymore.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
One of the things that gave me more strength too, before my wife got kidney, she was on dialysis for 5 years. So every day I had to take her there. The nurses and doctors there, they were very, very, very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I had a lot of support. And when they called her for the kidney, I was like, wow. I was scared, but I wasn't scared, because I was like, I wonder if this woman going to come into this thing. She's going to come back to me. I was like, I am not moving from here. I'm not moving. And I didn't move. I didn't move from there. I said, I'm going to stay there. But when I looked, before she got called for the kidney, one day my wife was in the room. She was getting ready for dialysis. So I was just coming out to the bathroom, and I heard her. She was talking to God, and she's saying, Lord, I don't want to go to this place today. Mm-hmm. She said, this thing is too much for me now. I had enough. I don't want to go through this anymore. And I stood there and I heard every word she was saying. When she finished talking, I came out and I gave her a hug. I said, don't worry. God is in charge. 2 weeks after, they called her for the kidney.
Look at that.
2 weeks after that, I said, yes, my prayers is answered. And from there on, here I am, loving my wife, still caring for my wife, and I'm happy, very, very happy with the situation, the way it turned out, because like I said, it was overwhelming at the time for me, but I know there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and there goes the light. I'm here.
That's a beautiful story. Oh my goodness. Hold on.
You brought her the tears.
I know.
It was not good. It was not a nice place where I was, but I said I hold my faith and continue journeying.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for making me cry and make my mascara get all chunky and stuff. Hopefully, Chris, you can edit out all the chunky mascara too. Okay.
I didn't mean to make you cry.
It's okay. It's a beautiful story. And it ended up with a beautiful ending. So honestly, it's okay. I'm glad you shared your story. Carlos, tell me, without making me all teary-eyed,
Well,
any mental stress. Let me know the mental stress that you might have gone through being a caregiver and, you know, juggling everything that you were going. Were you still working or you retired at that time?
I had to retire. It was too much.
Okay.
I'll put it in a nutshell. I lost about 30 pounds.
Wow.
I didn't realize I had lost weight until after. And then someone says, I said to someone else, you know, they says, what happened to you? Were you sick? He says, no, my wife was.
And because of the stress, you feel you lost the 30 pounds?
I was getting her meals, but I wasn't eating. I didn't feel to eat. I was up late at night. I was sleeping a few hours. It was hectic.
Yeah.
I thought I was eating. I thought I was doing everything right. But at the end of it, when everything was finished and I actually sat down and looked at myself, I said, wow, I look like a bag of bones.
The stress of it all.
You know? And I mean, she wasn't much different because when she came out, she was just the same. So I was trying to get her back to health and ignoring my health. You know, so I think it refers to something that I believe someone said earlier about the doctor telling them to look after themselves.
Yes.
Or else you would end up worse. Well, I think it didn't get that worse, but it was something along similar lines. I was looking after someone, but not taking care of myself. It took a toll on me.
And the thing is, you can't help others. You can't help your wife if you're not in that position. If you're just as bad or even worse, then you're both two peas in a pod and who's helping each other, right?
Well, I think my determination was what carried me. I was the one, you know, taking her to walk her back so she can get her mobility back. I was the one making sure she eats the right foods, doing everything, doing the groceries, doing the laundry, you know. It was a lot of stuff. And I have so much appreciation for my wife now that I realized that all these years she was doing all of that. I didn't realize how hectic it was. It put me in a different light. It opened my eyes, you know, and the only thing I can say is that, you know, I appreciate my wife even more now that she has come back, because I realized that without her, it would have been, I was a mess. And, you know, it's only fair for me to do what I had to do. I wouldn't have done it any other way. I could have lost a few more pounds, but it's all right. That would have been all right. Yeah.
Deroy, tell me, mental health, like how did all this whole journey, how did this affect your mental health?
Behind closed doors, it did affect me a lot. I was worried about you, right? I had my time. You know, I always tell you, I never cry in front of you and Tatiana. I gotta show that strength as a man, right?
There's that macho thing we were talking about earlier on in the episode, right?
Really, it's so true, right? We know us, man. We gotta show that we're still tough. But you know, when you went to bed, I would sit there and like, oh please, Janine, like I want to replace you with me. I want to be your position and you take care of me, and then see you go through what you went through. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I remember still that day that you were in the hospital recovering, and Tatiana had dinner, and I cried. The first time I cried in front of Tatiana, she consoled me. It was so hard. I still feel it right now. I'm so
These men.
yeah. The mental part was very hard, right? But again, I had to find that strength to make sure you're okay. So when you're sleeping or you're in the hospital or you're going to dialysis, that's the time I took to myself just to close my eyes. And I believe better was coming. I had to keep that positive outlook. I was looking forward to the day that we could look back at these days and laugh about it. Remember Janine, time I took you to the hospital and we were late, for example. Like I was looking forward to those days, those good memories of that time we were going through. It's like Roy was saying, you just sit there, you're like, wonder why me? How could this happen to me? You would just cry for no reason sometimes. Out of the blue sometimes. You just get ready for work and taking it out, brush my teeth and I start crying. But at the end of the day though, like, I was able to gain that strength and knew better was coming at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful to where we are right now today. See you smile every day, laugh every day, harass me every day. Make me take the garbage up before I go to work. It's all worth it.
Do you feel that at any point in time, since it was so much, it was a lot, like I said, the three of you went through a lot. Did you feel at any time that you should turn somewhere else in terms of like mental health? Did you feel that you need to reach out to your doctor, Deroy? Or did you feel that you had to, I don't know, just reach out for professional help? I mean, I understand you had, a lot of support with the family and friends, but at one point, did you say, you know what, something doesn't feel right? Maybe I need to reach out and get some type of professional help from an actual doctor?
Oh, definitely. That would have helped a lot. Just hearing that fresh voice, not your from your family or friends, or somebody completely different would have helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just that professional, that nurturing voice from a doctor. 'Cause I've gone through, I spoke to psychiatrists a long time ago, just in general, right? And it does help a lot. In this situation, with seeing your spouse going through what they went through, it would have helped. It would definitely have been a great help to have that voice to say the right door. Everything's gonna be okay. This is what you gotta do. Just take a breath. Just that professional voice would have been greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, my
I
other
would add to
question.
that in the
Yes,
sense
that's what I
that
asked, yes.
I would add to that to say that you reaching out for help didn't come to mind because I was so wrapped up in getting it done. It's only after when I said to myself after, I could have I said it, but not while it was happening. After, and that's when I thought about, maybe there could be someone I could have reached out to, and that's where that came from because I felt that after that I needed someone to bring me back to reality because it was so surreal for so long.
But you're so focused on taking care of
I
your
didn't
life.
think about it. I was in the moment.
Yes.
And only after the moment I realized, hey, I could have used something like that. It would have really been helpful. Yeah.
Now, since the three of you has been through this, you've been an effective caregiver. You helped your wife. They're healthy. They're strong now. Do you feel that you're in the position where you can provide advice to someone else? If someone came to you and said, hey, listen, my wife's going through X, Y, and Z, or she had a transplant, or a friend of yours at work, or do you think that you're educated enough to actually relay information onto someone else and help them through a journey like this?
Well,
Yes.
I could give them my story. I think it would help, but it all depends on them being receptive because sometimes in that situation, someone telling you that, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take that advice.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But yes, I think
Roy,
that, yeah.
What about Roy? You were saying?
Yes, I feel that I have enough education so that I can educate someone about it because my boss at work right now, his son has type 1 diabetes. He's 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't come to work. 2 days he didn't come to work. So when he came, he was crying. So I took him aside and I was talking to him. And he said to me, brother, you give me some information here today. He said, you make me feel a little bit more comfortable than I was. I said, well, that's what I'm here for. Anytime you need to talk, just come. And every morning he comes in, he makes sure he comes and give me a report. My son did this last night. My son that did last. I said, well, so that's how we go. This is how we go. So the information is so much that we cannot keep it to ourselves. We don't have enough space to keep it all. We have to share it because it's a lot.
Yes.
And successfully, we are. So we know that we did something right.
Now, do you think you'd be able to give this information to your boss, Roy, if you didn't go through this process with Tamara?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be able to do this. No, I wouldn't be able to. Because like I said in the beginning, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
When I was little, they used to call this sugar.
Yes.
That's all they used to say, somebody have sugar.
Yes.
And it was an elderly person. So to see that my wife was so young with that, that tells me that I can, that tells me that I gain enough knowledge that I can share. Because I didn't expect a young person like that to get that sick. No.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be something that you get. That is an older person's disease.
Yes.
Right? What about you, Deroy? Do you feel that everything that you've been through, you're in the position where you can go ahead and give advice to someone else? If, a friend of yours came up to you and said, hey, this is what my wife is going through, or this is what my, girlfriend is going through. Do you think you're in that position where you could provide advice from everything that you went through?
Definitely. This journey was amazing from beginning to end. I feel that I learned a lot in those couple of years of going through what you were going through. Just having the support and be able to relay that to other people, I could definitely do that. I like to help people out myself. I like to talk about my experience in life, and I like to give. So definitely, I know for sure I could do the 100% that I can relay what I learned from you in our journey, taking care of you, making sure you're okay, you're fed, you're just comfortable. I just know what certain things I had to do as a husband to you and a father for Tatiana to make sure that you're okay. So I definitely could 100% do it for sure.
One more question for you, Deroy, and then I'm going to ask quickly the other gentleman as well. Do you feel, Deroy, that everything that happened during our journey, do you think that was just sheer luck, that everything fell into place the way it did? Or do you feel that that was something more? Do you feel that was a religious aspect involved? Do you feel it was just sheer luck? What's your thoughts?
Well, I do believe in prayer. I do believe prayers work. I believe that 100%. Just a family praying for you and everything did fall into place, the universe and energy. I believe that this is education from the coordinators at the hospital, nurses, yourself, of course, speaking with your mom every day about it, your cousins. I just feel that everything came into place at the right time. So it made it easier. Just that support from the family and the nurses at the hospital and the coordinators made it an easier process. Without them, I know where I'd be, right? I'd be very stressed. I don't know where I'd be right now. So definitely, I do agree with that.
Carlos, what about you? Do you think that this whole process just was fate? Do you think it was religious based, divine intervention? What do you think about that?
I am not a praying person or a religious person, but I believe in the facts that are before us. The coordinated effort with the doctors and everyone played a very important part in it. I think everyone, the doctors, the caregivers, the nurses, everybody puts them in. But it doesn't, having faith or belief in something is also is good for the psychological aspect of it. But I think in the actual operation, it's in the hands of the professionals.
Yes.
I firmly believe that. I don't think there's any miraculous thing. We can console ourselves with faith, but it takes the mechanics to make it work. So maybe, just for maybe it's both things working together. I don't know. But from my point of view, I believe in that aspect, but I don't dispel the fact that fate or these things happen.
Yes.
So bring my thoughts into it and then bring the faith into it. And I think it's a combination of everything.
It's a combination, yeah.
Because my wife is very religious and I am not. So we're working from both ends.
So you're both sides, right?
Yeah. Give
Roy,
me
I
the
can
science
ask-
and she's bringing the prayer with her.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Roy, I'm gonna wrap up with you. I can ask, but I know what you're gonna say. Do you feel that this was a religious situation, or you think it's just complete, fluke, just luck, and everything fell into the place where it did?
I think it's a religious situation. The God that I pray to and my faith,
Mhm.
because without faith, there's no works, dead works.
Mm.
And I feel that everything happened for a reason. It's for a lesson to lift us up in the way, if we understand what is going on and come to the acknowledgement that this is not, I don't want this to be repeated on me. So we
Mhm.
can do something different
Mhm.
and make life easier for us. But in general, God is my refuge and my fortress. And I feel he's the one that gives me the strength, because when I quit my job and all those things, I had no money. I had nothing. I just got up and I said, I'm not going back to work. And I didn't go back. And I'm
Yeah.
here till today, 5 years has passed. Now I went back to work and I'm still living and everything is well. So I always tell my wife, she always said that I'm a prayer warrior. But I pray a lot, and I know, like Chris said, he don't pray, he don't believe in God, but he know that there is something.
Yes.
So I know that there's something that I hang on to that
Yes.
brought the victory, so that my wife can get the experience, that she can get the knowledge, that she can share with her fellow brothers and sisters, and all can get something out of that sweet. Everybody can get a little bit of it. So
Yeah.
God is my refuge, and I feel that he was in charge of it. He's the one that inspired all the doctors and the nurses in what to do, and they did the right thing with the knowledge.
You guys are amazing. This is an excellent episode, and I'm so glad the three of you came on here to share your story, share your journey. You could not share your journey if you didn't go through it. You can't speak about something if you don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
So I've always said, everything that I've went through, it's to share. Here we are right now on the Green Table Talk, sharing our story, sharing our experience, and helping others who's going to be watching this episode and say, wow, that Black man, that's me. You know what I mean? That's what I went through. So thank you very much for joining me here on the Green Table Talk. I'm so happy you came. I'm so happy you shared your story, shared your journey, your thoughts, the process. I'm so happy that you were here today for this episode. Thank you very much.
I am so happy that they have some strong men in the world today still.
Yes.
Definitely.
Love that. Beautiful.
Like
Usually at this point in time, I'll take this time to share a little nugget of knowledge. And this might seem a little cliche, but I'm going to say it anyways. My phrase for today is simple. There is no I in team. So if the three of you didn't do what you did to help myself out and to help out your amazing wives, who knows what would have happened? Who knows?
Nobody
So
knows.
thank you very much for showing that there's no I in team and doing this together as a unit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thanks for meeting yourself and two strong men like myself.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Beautiful.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you for joining us here on the Green Table Talk.
I hope we get to meet someday.
Yes.
Sure.
One day.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Definitely.
You guys take care.